Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues. And with this video, we discuss my thoughts on episode 2 of the anime series Shokugeki no Soma, Sen no Sara, or the third plate, with the extended title Toutsuki Ressha-hen, which, as per the subtitles where I watched the episode, apparently loosely translates to Toutsuki Train Arc. And I find this absolutely fascinating. Of course, being somebody who is not at all familiar with the source material, the manga, I'm curious as to whether or not this is actually being directly adapted from it, if they're, changing anything up, switching anything around. If you happen to be somebody who is watching this video that is more familiar with the source material, without posting any spoilers, let me know if you think my assumption is correct that this second half of Season 3 of Shokugeki no Soma will probably round out the entirety of the Toutsuki Train arc, if indeed it is being directly adapted, for whatever it is, 12 episodes or whatever we have for the second half. I can only assume that that is where it's going to, culminate after the run of this season, or the second half of Season 3. And I just found it really kind of interesting that at this late stage, all of our characters, they've been, for all intents and purposes, split up into groups of 5, being, sort of considered by Azami and anyone representing Central as rebels. And their first sort of bout has to do with seafood, a salmon dish, more specifically, that Azami has taught special classes on for anyone who is already conforming to Central's sort of outlook for Toutsuki Academy. And so all of our main cast, as sort of spearheaded by Arina, as we saw toward the tail end of the previous episode, but very much continuing to pick up that slack in the wake of Soma in this episode, teaching everyone all of the intricacies of ingredients and all the different kinds of potatoes and everything they can get all across Hokkaido. The whole thing seems to be that they're going to be traveling across Hokkaido, and every single stop along the way is going to be representative of a new challenge, a new dish that they're going to have to, get the ingredients together, probably of their own devices, because as we saw, for the salmon dish, all of the people conforming to Central, they got the brand new, perfectly fresh salmon, glistening and gleaming and all of that good stuff. And our main characters, Soma and Kotokiba and Alice and Megumi and all that kind of stuff, they get the bottom of the barrel, the dregs. It's perfectly unfresh. It's been sitting for a while. So you have the lady overseeing this first round being like, well, if you think you can go and get fresher ingredients, by all means, but you have till sundown, and then you got to have this dish done, that kind of thing. And I thought it was interesting that for this first round, at least the one that we're focusing on with Soma and Kotokiba and Megumi, right there, Kotokiba and Megumi have two people with this background in seafood and such like that. So it's almost like the chips were stacked against Central to begin with. I mean, it was a foregone conclusion to me that they would succeed in some way, shape, or form. And of course, they managed to do so for this first round. And it seems as though that is the case across the bar, actually. Everyone who is split up, everyone considered to be rebels from Polar Star and the Aldini brothers, Nakumi and everything like that. Everyone who is involved who's considered to be rebels, they have in fact managed to just skirt by this first round. So everybody makes it through. And it did lead me to kind of sort of feel a mild, little precursor of disappointment, in that I want to feel that there are stakes here. It's weird. I have mixed emotions, because on the one hand, I don't want to see any of these characters lose to Central or to Azami and be sent packing and be sent home, basically, for all intents and purposes. They were told by a loudspeaker that if they fail any one of these challenges, they will be immediately picked up, put on a bus, sent to Tokyo, and then they're out. They're kicked out of the school for good, expelled. So it's like, on the one hand, I don't want to see any of these characters have that fate befall them, but at the same time, it's like, I would like to see that there is a risky game going on, that there are stakes, that, we will have characters that are losing every step of the way, and not just background characters we've never been introduced to before. It would be a real shame to see some of these Polar Star Dormitory characters have to be expelled, but I want to know there's a legitimacy to it. I'm sure most of them even if they fail this academy, they could still have a pretty bright future as chefs and things like that, if not go to a different school. Like, I don't know how exactly that would all play out. The bureaucracy involved and all that kind of stuff, the posturing and positioning, whether or not Azami, as the leader of Toutsuki Academy right now and Central as well, if he would be able to sort of, usurp their being able to go on to any other schools or go on to any other employment out in the real world, the private sector and such. But it was flabbergasting to me that here they thought they had the chips stacked against our group of air quotes rebels, as I say. And they were all already gloating and laughing about it, like, yeah, you guys are out. What, like, why even try? And even Soma at one point, he's like, well, let's use this crappy salmon and just make dinner for ourselves. We'll figure something out. But of course, they utilized the skills of Kotokiba and Megumi and stuff, and Alice. There's a constant posturing back and forth between Alice and Soma as to who the leader is. Why Soma, are you acting like you're the leader? He's the leader, lady. Get over it. But like, I love how they rose to the challenge, and as I say, it was a foregone conclusion to me that would be the case. I was a little bit surprised with how quickly it wrapped up, but then they had to sort of move into the whole aspect of what this arc is about, debuting the fact that there is this train and they're going to be traveling Hokkaido, and each stop along the way is going to be representative of a challenge. So it's interesting because so much of this is going to be rigged. It's already rigged from the get-go, but as we see, all of these teams of our rebelistic characters, they've all managed to just skirt by this first round. And as I say, as we go on through the course of this small handful of episodes that will probably round out the Toutsuki train arc, like I do hope there is going to be some real risk involved, that we're going to see characters, if not ousted entirely, just losing and not meeting the challenges and having to be expelled, outright, being very close to that. And then, because of course the maneuverability of that in past seasons, whenever somebody like Megumi was going to be expelled, Soma came in and sort of had her back and managed to configure a way where she wouldn't be. Such like that, Soma has been close to the mark a couple of times himself. Where he was almost entirely ousted from the school. So as long as it feels like there is a threat, as long as it feels like there is a risk going on, I'll be more satisfied. I don't want it to be a given that all of these characters are going to make it all the way through every step of the way along this Hokkaido journey, with each and every, matchup challenge they are sort of, experiencing, that there isn't going to be a risk, that there isn't going to be a fight. I want to know that there is a challenge, and not just down to, we show up at this destination and this is the dish we have to prepare, and look, yet again, we get the bottom of the barrel stuff and we got to go find our own ingredients. Like, I hope that's not the same rigmarole every single time, every stop along the journey. But all told, it was really, uber satisfying to me, especially in how Arina is so warming to Soma now. I mean, toward the end, they're sharing that private moment. Everyone is coming and saying, take some time off, let your hair down, sit in the massage chair, everything, pamper yourself, rest up and everything like that. And she can't figure out why that is. And it's because of everyone's appreciation, obviously, for what she's doing. And the turn in character from that's one of the things I love about this series, the turn in character where, at one point, Alice and Kotokiba, they had been full-on enemies of Soma, and here they are working together. Similarly with, Nikumi, at one time she was an adversary of Soma's, and now she's very much on their side. The Aldini brothers and everything like that. Arina herself is sort of the final vestige of that aspect. She was the first one Soma met, who unleashed the bullhorns and like, you're going down, boy. And, but now, as she says to herself, she's reflecting to herself during that beautiful moment where they're looking at the starry sky and he's thinking of, like, fish stock or something because of how it glistens and gleams. And, she says to herself, there was a time when I was repulsed by even the look of your face, by even being in the same breadth of an area as you were, that kind of thing. And now I don't mind it as much. And I was like, oh yeah! You know, the romance blooms and blossoms. And so that had me stoked. I love that characterization and the warmth that is building and burgeoning, that appreciation between Arina and Soma. I mean, Soma already kind of appreciates her to begin with, and you know, but I love seeing Arina warming to him, much as all of these other characters, as I say, have done in the past. And so yeah, they got past the first round of this Toutsuki train arc challenge, this trip across Hokkaido, which is leading up to this little offshoot island, and everyone seemed flabbergasted about that. I don't know exactly why. It must be a regional thing. But yeah, I mean, I can't wait to see how this all plays out, and if it will actually conform to my speculation that this is going to be the entirety of the Toutsuki train arc, this Hokkaido arc. And once we get to that juncture, I mean, I'm just going to be curious to see where we leave off, what more there will be, you know, beyond this. Will this be the silencing of Central once and for all, or is this only one more, you know, sort of stage of that, and it's still ongoing in the manga, and, you know, Central's still around, Azami's still around for what could be another couple of seasons of the anime if they decide to produce it, kind of thing. I'm really just going to be curious to see how it all plays out. And so yeah, otherwise I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of episode 2 of season 3, the second half of season 3 of Shokugeki no Soma, San no Sara, Toutsuki Ressha-hen, or the Toutsuki train arc as it is called. And yeah, otherwise it'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.